Hi, Monica. Thanks for joining us.
Hi. Let me blur my background because nobody needs to see my my messy room.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. People, I opened the room. It doesn't look like. There we go. Welcome, everyone, and thanks for joining us this evening. We'll get started in about 5 minutes. We'll give people a chance to join. Um, great. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. If anyone would like to um, talk to us via chat. No, we can't see you. Everyone is on their video and their audio is muted. So if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself in chat, what your business is and or maybe what you're expecting from today's webinar, that would be great. You do that while we're waiting for people to join. Um, okay, hi Thomas. Okay. Can't figure out how I get my camera on. I think all the cameras are turned off
Yeah, we're in a webinar mode, so
in the webinar. So
only people marked as panelists will appear on screen.
yeah, so you should be able to see us, but we can't see you. Hi, Nicole. Rob and Nicole are here. Where's everybody from? Oh, good, Ivana. I'm glad your mentor suggested that you come to the webinar. That's terrific. Oh, California, that's my home state. I'm from the Bay Area. All right. Hi, Teresa. Welcome, everyone. Charlotte, great. Black Mountain. Everybody from Charlotte ready for the snow tomorrow? That should be exciting. Watching the city shut down with a
I'm
dusting of
beginning
snow.
to wonder if my presence in these webinars is cursed because the last one I did was the one we literally did the night the hurricane was coming through.
Oh,
I was
no.
doing it at home on an iPad to make sure I wouldn't lose power.
Oh, no. Oh, my gosh. Well, we'll hope that's not the case. All right, let's see. Belmont, okay. Durham, great. Done, North Carolina. Oh, glad you saw us on the website. That's good to know. Starting a woodworking business. Awesome. Well, this is the right place to be. We're going to go through all the basics of starting your own business. So um, feel free as we're going through the presentation to put your questions in chat or in the Q&A, and we'll either answer those written or we'll interrupt Terry and ask him to answer the questions for us. Really from Pittsburgh. Awesome. Great. All right. Well, we're about a minute away from starting, so I want to thank everyone for showing up tonight. So glad you're here. As I said, this is for all those people who are either thinking of or had just started your business. So if you're not sure about the basics, what's required, you're going to hear about that tonight. So we're also happy that you're here. So I'm Jane Valancourt. I'm from SCORE in Charlotte. And for those of you who don't know about SCORE, we offer free one-on-one mentoring as well as an education program, including webinars and a ton of resources. So if you're looking for other webinars, you're looking for templates, you're looking for business plans, financial templates, score.org is the place to go to. And absolutely go there. If you feel like having a mentor will help you in your journey, we're happy to help. You can look at profiles of mentors, ask for anyone in particular, or just sign up and your SCORE office closest to you will assign you a mentor. So definitely take advantage of that. Everything's free for you. So hopefully you'll take advantage. So tonight we have Terry, is it Britton or Brighton? Britton, Britton. He is with SCORE on the in Carolina and the coast, and he's here as your presenter. And we have Jeremy from the library. So in all of these presentations, the library joins us to make sure you understand all the valuable resources available to you through the library. And we have a special guest, Monica Molina from the Economic Development Group. So we have a lot to cover tonight. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Terry with reminder, put your questions in the chat or the Q&A. And yes, you will get a recording of this session tomorrow via email. So with that, I will turn it over to Terry. Can you share? I think I shared my screen. Yeah, great.
Yep, now I can.
Perfect.
There you go. Well, you should all see this lovely slide screen here and perhaps a little bit of me too. And, and welcome everybody. And yeah, stick around for the library presentation because if you didn't realize how many incredible resources we all get for free in North Carolina just for having a library card, and then if you're in the Charlotte area, the even richer resources that you have out of the Charlotte library system. Really, you'll want to know because it's a research paradise, basically. So,
Awesome. Hey, before you get started, I was reminded, thank you, Teresa. I forgot to introduce Elliot. Elliot On is with us. He's from SCORE as well. And he is going to, he's new to the Simple Steps program, and he's joining us tonight as a co-moderator and also as hopefully a future presenter. So thank you, Elliot, and thanks, Teresa, for the reminder.
okay, well, so tonight we're all going to learn about the basic steps for starting your own business and all the different things you got to consider and know all about before you make a decision to even do starting a business. And we're going to cover some of the nice kind of options and resources that you have available, but also we're going to go over the kind of checklist things you really got to know about yourself and about your market and it's a couple of do's and don'ts and things like that. So it's a pretty thorough program. And let me get going because they only give me an hour and a half to go through a 2-hour program because of our special guests. So I'm going to talk really fast. And no, I hope you can also understand me. Yes or no. By the way, yeah. I can't really talk that fast, can I? Okay, so let's just switch over here. Why isn't my arrow working? I guess I got to do it that way. The old-fashioned way. Well, so SCORE volunteers are successful, experienced business executives, as it says. We have seminars and workshops as well to supplement what your SCORE volunteer can do for you in one-on-one free mentoring. In case you didn't know, SCORE is the volunteer arm of the Small Business Administration of the United States, and we're available for anybody who's a United States citizen, or apparently even if you have a green card, your SCORE is accessible to you, okay? So you just can find your own local resource for your local area. If you know your chapter name, you can put in the chapter's name .score.org. But at score.org, you can also find everything, and we recommend using the search tool to find a good mentor match. However, I do want to let you know if there's not a mentor match in North Carolina for you, I mean, or in your exact immediate region, you have access to every single mentor in the United States, which is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people with all kinds of specialties. So you can use the search tool to really narrow down and find some people and read their various resumes and profiles on the site and pick some out that you're going to use. Almost 90% of the people I take care of, because I'm in the arts, in a specialty area, are from outside of North Carolina. So it's totally available to you to find someone who really knows your particular business, whether it's running a coffee shop or a beauty shop or doing trucking or whatever it is, doing a nonprofit, et cetera, et cetera. So go ahead and take advantage and you'll enjoy it. Now, one of the big benefits of having a mentor help you through things that they know a lot about the resources available to you. They get to know you and your personality and where you're at, what your hopes and dreams are and stuff. And they can hook up with other mentors that they can bring on board as members of your team. And so it's a really, really wonderful thing. But when you're getting going, you pretty much have these various steps, okay? You can take the simple steps thing, which is the one that you're in right now, and then move on to the section 2 that covers the business concept, section 3 that covers your marketing plan, 4 covers financial matters, and 5 is funding options. Now, we do a lot of these session 1s here in this state. It's mostly sponsored by the Charlotte chapter, but several of us from all over the state do host them, like I'm doing it, and I'm in coastal Carolina area on the East Coast. So the main thing is that when you finish a session, you get hold of a darn mentor so that you can get some one-on-one mentoring right away and have your questions answered and get connected with different resources. But just keep it in mind, you've got all kinds of resources, even at score.org. You have templates for spreadsheets, you have templates for business plans, and for a new kind of business plans, like a one-sheet business plan called a business model canvas. Highly recommended. It's become a standard in this country now for teaching business. And so anyway, you get the idea. Hook up with your mentor. They'll connect you with the things, and go to score.org and breeze through their various live webinars, the recorded webinars, the template library, and use their search engine to help you kind of find out what all is out there in terms of people that can help you. So anyway, the big question, the big burning question first is, are you ready to get started as an entrepreneur? Well, of course you are, you say. Yes, but let's consider things. We're going to go over the workshop benefits of going to different workshops that SCORE presents, and the myths and realities of entrepreneurship, critical success factors. We want you to know your options. We're going to go over the components of business ownership. We're going to go over how you make it legal and the various different types of businesses you can start. Your business plan basics. We're going to do a self-assessment, cover a little bit of that, of really looking at whether this is for you or not, and the next steps after that. Okay. So let's talk about the benefits here. This workshop's going to help you develop your feasibility plan, and it's going to take you through the decision-making process, provide you with information to make it a go or no-go decision on your business idea, and make sure you have the core information to create a complete business plan that you can hand to bankers and investors in the future. Now, mind you, those are here thinking, I'll get funding right away. Most banks and investors and nonprofits who give grants, they really want to see you have a 2-year track record before they take a chance on giving you a lot of money. And that's just standard across the board everywhere in America. In fact, everywhere in the world. It's just wise for them to see if you can manage your money, manage your business well, and have a track record of keeping things efficient, because they need to get the money back. And so it's a risk for them, even if you have 2 years experience. So that's something people should know right away, especially if they're thinking, oh, I heard there's a grant, I heard there's this money here. here my bank is supporting businesses, but still you've got to have a lot of ducks in a row before you can really talk to a bank. And we're here to help you get all those ducks in a row and make sure you got it going on. So we're going to give you those key directions that you need to get started, and not only get started, but have something that's a continuing success for you. Whether it's challenging or not, you want to have success and you want to have it to be fun, right? Okay, so let's go on with that. So anyway, it's great to meet you. If you want to put in the chat, tell us a bit about yourself, your name, your business ID, and what you want to learn today. And I've got this chat right in front of me, so I'm going to take a look at it, what you're typing in. So feel free to type some in. Okay. Hey, David, it's good to be here for sure. I believe the slides are sent out once the session is over. The whole thing is recorded, and we have a Zoom package that Zoom creates when it includes transcriptions and all kinds of stuff. I believe you get links sent out to you. I'm not sure. Jane, do they get links sent to the Zoom
That's
recording?
absolutely. So
There you
those will go out tomorrow.
Cool.
Mhm. Yep.
Super duper. So, hope you're seeing the slides. Are you seeing the slides that I'm changing?
Yes, we can see them.
Okay, because someone said I can see the about score slide. I'm not sure why
Yeah,
that.
that was me. Sorry.
Okay.
Elliot and I were talking
WTW.
back and forth. Yeah. Okay, so we've got Jennifer. She's starting a cafe. That's exciting. And
Mm.
Mark's in business consulting.
Oh, great. In a jewelry store. Paper Planet Studios, paper art and illustrations. Fantastic. Electrical business, animal rescue. Oh, ho. And woodworking business. That's good. Great, great, great. Sampson County traditions, eh? Glad to see Sampson County has some traditions. And astrological consulting, big area. Um, there you go. Business and art education. Wonderful, wonderful. We have a very successful one of those right in Elizabeth City, where I'm from there. And good, Thomas. I'm glad you're taking the course in this. It's really interesting. I took it too when I started long ago, 11 years ago, when it was all done in the office. Women's retreat, coaching business, and real estate property management services. Fantastic. Self-defense business and boutique. Self-defense business and boutique. That's interesting. That's so you have really good ninja clothes. Yeah. So any color you want as long as it's black, I suppose. Or all that kind of stuff, right? That's a Ford joke. Okay, it's Model Ts. Any color you wanted as long as it was black. All right, let's see. A property and casualty business. Cool. And a SaaS app. Good. Excellent. Excellent. Well, we have a real variety of things here. Family entertainment center. Awesome. And woodworking. Yeah, don't worry. Biz stuff is one of those things that you learn because you have to do those steps to get the business going. And a therapeutic break room. What do you know? All right. Super. Well, that's a good start. Thanks everybody for posting in. It's really, really, what a wide variety of people we got going on here. Isn't this cool? Okay. Well, let me just talk about some of the myths and realities of entrepreneurship. Myth one is that as an entrepreneur, you won't have to work that hard or put in such long hours. Well, the reality is you'll probably work harder and longer than you've ever worked before, but you'll enjoy it more. It's your dream. It's your vision being fulfilled. And so it's a fulfilling experience, and it makes you look forward to going to work every day. Exhaustion fades at the moment that you proudly say, I did this. So you thought you were getting tired, and then you look around and say, I did this. An entrepreneur does carry an enormous amount of responsibility too, and especially if you start having employees, because they're depending on you to pay their bills. And you can expect to work around the clock for the first year and maybe even two. Remember that you'll no longer have paid vacations or sick leave. And if you get the flu and you don't have measures in place to keep your business running, it can have a financial impact. So it's difficult work, but the rewards can outweigh the sacrifices you'll make. I assure you. And I have been doing this 11 years. And people, once you get in there, there's no pulling people out. Notice number 2, my product and service is unique and there is no competition. There actually are some things like that, very rarely. They call them blue sky opportunities and or blue ocean, something like that. And it means you really don't have competition. But boy, oh boy, you fall into one of those things. You're lucky because there's always competition. If there's no competition, it might be because nobody either can afford what you've got because the clientele doesn't have money, or the businesses that have tried to start this stuff just it never really filled a need that was a real need, and so they weren't able to get enough customers to sustain. Or there's other things you have to take in competition world. There's also the competition you have for your marketing efforts and your advertising. So if it's other people in the same business, you're going to have some competition, but you generally don't want to go into something that has no competition because it means that business concept might have a flaw, a fatal flaw that you really got to look into that and find out why there's no competition. It's like a red flag. Okay, myth number 3, business owners can deduct everything, so you won't have to pay taxes. Ah, I heard about those things. No, that's not true. Taxes are based on net income, which can be lowered by subtracting your expenses that are related to your business to your gross income. But really strict regulations apply, so you got to keep really good records and learn how to make the tax system work for you. So yes, you can find deductions and you can earn them, but generally tax deductions come because you have earned them. You've done something a little extra to put in 110%, done something that made you earn them. Okay. There's many benefits to owning your own business, though, and you'll likely have many tax write-offs, but it's also important to keep excellent records, spreadsheets, records galore, everything really. I'll keep 2 copies and have a separate business bank account. Never, ever commingle your personal funds, your personal bank account with your business expenses. Always, always have a separate bank account. Okay. And pay all of your expenses for the business with the business bank account. It's called commingling funds. And most accountants, if you say, I've been considering commingling funds, they'll just faint right in front of you. It's that simple. So, well, I don't know why people that I told I was in a meeting all evening are calling me, but they did. Let me turn off my phone. Because as soon as you think that they're going to get the message and not call you back, they call you back 10 times. Okay, so of course I can't get this thing to work. There we go. There we go. Power off. Hey, you guys, remind me to turn my phone back on. All right. So anyway, keep the excellent records. I knew it wouldn't work. It is shutting down. Good. Goodbye. Yeah, spreadsheets are the rule, and we have a lot of good spreadsheet templates for you to keep track of your profit and loss statement, your income, all that kind of important stuff. You got to keep records for your taxes. So anyway, it is wise to work with an accountant that can help you maximize your tax advantages. But I will tell you, when you're first starting out, a good bookkeeper and ask for referrals can do most of the work that an accountant can do. An accountant is there for when you got the hard questions like how do I invest my profits and things like that. What's the best way to manage those types of things? Okay, myth number 4. As a business owner, you won't have a boss. Well, you won't have a boss, but you have many bosses instead. You have clients, they're called, and customers. There's an old saying that the customer pays our bills. is never more true than when you work for yourself. And while you may not have one boss handing down orders, you'll have to answer to your customers and provide great customer service so you can keep them for life and provide great service in general. So keep in mind, you'll also be accountable to the government, to local, state, and federal governments, plus investors, suppliers, vendors, creditors. The reality is that you'll actually have many bosses. And myth number 5 is business owners get to do whatever they want. Well, think again. You'll have to wear many hats and you'll have to juggle many skills, some of which they may bore you to tears, or they might be downright challenging. Most entrepreneurs, especially those in their early years, will tell you that there's more work than glamour in their daily lives. Because you'll have to wear so many hats, you'll ultimately carry the bulk of the responsibility, and depending on your budget and how much help you can afford, you may have a wide variety of responsibilities, including taking out the trash, negotiating with vendors, managing employee issues, dealing with insurance companies, shipping orders, handling emergencies, and the list goes on. So that's your answer about those myths. So here's the reality, though. Proper balancing really is the key. Now, typically, 24% of businesses fail within their first 2 years, okay? And that's according to data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. 76% of new businesses are successful after 2 years, okay? So that's nice to know. Well, if I get past the 2 years, I'm not quite scot-free. So then after 5 years, about half of the businesses are going to fail in the first 5 years. So you see, this is why the banks and your grants and stuff like that, they want to see that you at least survive the 2 years, because it's really takes a lot of self discipline and good management skills and good monetary, money management practices to make sure that you do succeed. And that's one reason you want to get this mentor in place, because they can help you in these areas. Plus, don't forget, they can also find co-mentors who have expertise in specific specialty areas. So that should help keep you going. But there's 4 main reasons why the small businesses do fail, and you can avoid these. Lack of planning is one, where you're just flying by the seat of your pants. It never works. Insufficient capitalization at
Gonna
start.
be times when I have a snack and I'm not gonna share it with you.
Oh, somebody's talking.
You can stop looking at me.
I hear a sound. Okay,
Gonna be a time
someone's microphone is open.
I'm not gonna share it with you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Here you go. Your microphone is open. Okay, so yeah, if you don't have enough capitalization at startup, that can also make for problems. If you, especially if you had to buy parts or things to sell, you had to have some enough inventory, or you're really thinking that you'll be able to quit your day job and move on, and you're really not making enough money. Maybe the first month or 2 of being open, your grand opening pulls in a bunch of people, but then month 3, month 4, you might get a surprise and not be getting enough, and you didn't have enough of a nest egg to fall back on for when the leaner months happen. So do that. The big one is mismanagement of cash flow, where people immediately think, I'm in business for myself, I can go buy a new car. Or I can get an office. It's in a nice, with a beautiful view downtown. Don't do those things with your money. Put your money aside, make the nest egg, prepare for needing a buffer, and you will need one. And that's a primary thing that people do. That's a big key, and is really the biggest reason why banks no longer loan to people until they've been in business for 2 years, is that very topic, mismanagement of cash flow. And then there's improper pricing. There's 2 kinds of improper pricing. Thinking you can charge a fortune and consider everything that you do as a luxury item. And the opposite extreme, where you're charging too little because you've commoditized your products or services to where the only way you can compete is through lowering your prices lower than the competition. And that is a race to the bottom, and almost always ends in you going out of business. So never race to the bottom. Do not avoid commoditization. Always look for differentiation, how you can make your business different and better than the competition by offering specific services, special customer service perks, anything you can think of that differentiates you from your competition so that you do not have to compete on price. So these are all important considerations you can tackle right now in this course, and proper planning is essential to setting up your business for success. Now, do you have what it takes is a big question. The education and experience in the field, do you know your area? Are you going to, like the woman in the slide, are you going to start a flower shop, but you don't know anything about flowers at all? Like me, have not a green thumb, any other color but green. That's me. And so you have to have a strong work ethic. You got to be willing to say, you know, I get enough satisfaction from the work I'm doing. It gives me joy. So this will help. Just having a strong work ethic right there can help you get over the humps. And you have to have effective time management too. Please do give yourself some breaks and stuff like that. Employ the Pomodoro technique where you work hard for 20 minutes and take a 10-minute break and then work hard for another 20 minutes. Set a timer to do that. They even sell little timers in the shape of tomatoes because Pomodoro, right? You want to do you want to have the ability to manage and multitask. And by manage, they don't just mean manage your time and stuff and multitask, but also you're probably eventually going to need some helpers, and the ability to manage them and keep them feeling proud for what they do and be a good manager. Like just think back to any managers or bosses you had that made you miserable. Just don't be that person. And also have the willingness to ask for help and take advice from others. Okay. And have adequate capital. Really make a nice savings account in your business account and sock money away from your profits towards a goal. And that's one thing where a spreadsheet, which I call a spreadsheet a dream machine, where it can really be a fun endeavor where you have your goals of things that equipment you might be planning on buying, expansions you might want to do, where you set up like a timeline of when you're going to want to have that. And then you break it down of how much money would you have to put away every month in order to reach that goal by this end date. So that helps you keep up with the adequate capital side of things by always watching it and also being able to plan for the future with a spreadsheet and doing projection sheets. You'll be shown how to do that kind of stuff. It's fun, actually. Okay, so a big question then, do you have the financial resources? Remember, you're going to have to get, very likely you have to get some kind of tools and equipment, even if it's just a laptop, right? Or a phone. You might want to do leasehold improvements. What's that? When you lease a building, a storefront, usually you get a bare bones, empty walls, empty floors, nothing in there, or a minimum thing. You're going to likely have to make some improvements to turn it into a pleasant space where people would be attracted to come in. And so you'll be doing basic construction things and have those expenses, and then decorations, and then signage and things like that. So that's what leasehold improvements are. If you're making a home business or working remote and providing remote services, that's a little different, but there still can be expenses along those lines of making your scene more attractive or more efficient, like getting a better computer. You have to get licenses and permits for several types of work, like hairdressing and stuff like that. There's professional fees that you also have to pay in some cases, hairdressing again. And you have the initial inventory. You have to start a store with some stuff in it. And so you'll have to get that and have the financial resources to buy that stuff. And you'll want to have, like I said before, a working capital reserve fund, or a nest egg, some people call it. But that's a nest egg for your business. You see, it's a nest egg you create in your business bank account. You can use the same bank as you're using for most businesses, even most credit unions are delighted to have you open a business account. The main point is just don't commingle the funds from your private account. Don't pay for bills with your personal credit card. Always use the business debit card or credit card. Okay, that's a big deal. And if you're ever audited, you'll really be glad you heard me say that. All right. So the kinds of business you run are going to determine a lot of things about what kind of things you're going to have to consider in this list. I mean, you're going to go into a manufacturing type of thing. You're going to start a restaurant. Oh, in that case, get ready to get all that stuff you're going to need for the inspector. Retail, of course, and retail can be pretty smooth, but you really do have to make the space glowy. Are you going to provide a service, in which case it's all about timeliness and all that kind of stuff? Or are you going to do consulting? All these different things. So, um, we have lots and lots of information on all this kind of thing, on all the different types of businesses. And again, the goal is to get you matched up with a mentor who also knows your business area or who can get hold of co-mentors that can help you that have specialties. All right. All right. So, you got to figure out ahead of time what your total monthly cost of living is going to be. If you're even thinking of quitting your job, okay? You got to make sure that you can cover your expenses. You got to look for areas where you can cut back. You got to get rid of any outstanding debt as fast as you can. You got to look at the amount that you got in savings and figure out what the total amount is needed after all that stuff's figured out to cover 6 to 12 months of expenses. Yeah, really, 6 to 12 months of expenses. You want to have enough nest egg, and this is personal nest egg, to cover your expenses in case the business has a bad problems. It could be many things. There's natural disasters, hurricanes, tornadoes, and mountain tidal waves. Good gravy. I mean, look what they just went through in Asheville. They'd never been touched by anything like that before. It put a lot of people through hell that didn't have enough to cover 6 to 12 months of expenses because they were borderline with their businesses. So it's been a real disaster, and everybody's working really hard, not only up there, but all across North Carolina and Tennessee and South Carolina, and all had big troubles with that stuff. But things happen. We in North Carolina do get snowstorms, super ice storms once in a while. I was in Winston-Salem when they had 4 inches of ice dump itself on Winston-Salem and closed the whole city down for 2 weeks. So you got to be ready to buffer through those things when no customers are coming through the door if they can't get to your place. It just happens. So yeah, can't emphasize enough. Have some ways of overcoming problem times, okay? Always consider where you might scale back on your monthly expenses. Eliminate extras like premium cable and daily lattes, whatever it takes, right? And do figure out what your monthly budget is. Leave no stone unturned. That includes your mortgage, your rent, your groceries, entertainment, utilities, childcare, medical care, clothing, gifts, allowances. Just figure it out. Every dollar you spend, account for it. If you have outstanding debt, that impacts your future credit and can be an added burden when you're on your own because you're having this money coming out every single month. That it would be great to have that load off of you. And if you're making a decision to quit your job and you pursue your business, just make sure you got at least 6 months in living expenses saved. Also consider whether you can start your business on the side while you maintain your current job and income, because sometimes a slow start is a much safer way to go. And it lets you kind of, instead of hitting the ground running, hit it sauntering and whistling and having a cup of coffee. Okay? So let's know our options. When you start a new business, you're not hampered by previous reputation. This is starting your own business, right? That's what I'm talking about. The option of starting your own business. What we're about to go through is various different types of ways that you can get in business. So the advantages of starting your new business is that you're not hampered by previous reputation or technologies of any existing business. You're choosing your own location, your own name and logo, and you're building your own relationships. And you're exploring new markets and directions. The disadvantage is that you got no existing customer base to build on, and you've got to make all of that happen from scratch. But your marketing, your mentors usually know a lot about marketing to help you there. You're taking a bigger risk. Well, sure. And there's no track record on your part, so there's going to be difficulty in getting financing. Okay. Like I said, even if you did have some track record, most likely 2 years is about how long you'd wait before the banks will talk to you, even with the most amazing business plan filled out and all your spreadsheets done and everything. It's just an area of caution for all banks. All righty, so now we've had lots and lots of people start their own businesses. Most of my clients are people that started their own businesses because, well, they're in the arts and crafts, or they're in tech, and they're giving courses, they're selling courseware, all kinds of different things like that. There are areas where you can get started without having to have a huge amount of money in many cases in the arts. And even in light manufacturing, often you can get started with without having huge amounts. So we get a lot of people that are starting from scratch and have a new business. I just recommend that you really do the research, make sure other people have been successful in this business. Like I said, we in the beginning, look out for thinking that you've got no competition. If you don't have competition, that's a red flag. Okay. Now, the other option, of course, besides starting your own business, is to maybe buy an existing business. The big advantages there are you have established clientele that are already going to the store, and you have established suppliers. You're in a known location. It's already in a place where people are doing well. And usually you're buying an existing business because the people that own that business want to retire. The business is a known quantity with a proven formula or name. You can review their financial records and see what kind of business bumps and good years that they've had over the years, because all businesses keep their records for 10 years, right? And since the business has a track record, it may be easier to obtain funding after you've taken over the business because the banks already know that this business has done well for the last 50 years or 6 generations, whatever. And they might be more willing to take a chance on you, even though it's a new business for you and you're the new owner. The disadvantage is there might be potential hidden issues like debts, some poor reputation that came down. People may have loyalty to the owner, not to the business. Okay, so when the owner leaves, they stop coming. There may be out of date inventory, or there might be transfer issues in transferring the inventory and the various goods. Okay, so you have to ask yourself, does this business have a good reputation? And is the inventory obsolete? Gosh, I had some friends, they bought a leather place where you made leather hobby crafts. It's way back in the 70s. And they bought the business, and every single piece of inventory, the leather was so old it fell apart in your hands. It's just like ridiculous. Anyway, will you have employee issues where maybe the employees were loyal to the owner only, or it never had a good energy in that business anyway, and the existing employees, you kind of get inheriting a bunch of disgruntled employees or a bad business culture. So you got to know whether that stuff's going on. And there's also no guarantee that the success will continue that the business you're buying had. And so you got to consider these things. When you when you're buying a new business, an existing business, definitely get professional advice when you're considering that purchase. The records need to be reviewed by an attorney and an accountant. You may want to work with an experienced business broker who can help you navigate the many processes involved, okay? Because there's a lot of little details and stuff, and there's people that do this kind of process for a living and help people get through it. And they're going to be worth their weight in gold, I assure you. Okay, what else do we have going on? How about buying a franchise? That would be a good one. Well, when you buy a franchise, you become part of a proven system that has proven products and services. You got marketing and sales as the power of a franchisor. That's part of what you give all that money to the franchisor for, is because they're handling your marketing, your TV ads, your newspaper ads, magazine ads, billboards, all the signage. They're handling that for you. You're getting training and professional guidance from the franchisor. You're getting a continued consulting relationship from the franchisor themselves, where they're always coming by and helping you. Usually some district director and regional director that helps you out constantly, is interested in your success. And you have access to also to other franchisees for help. So you buy like a McDonald's, a UPS store, a Domino's Pizza, get involved with McDonald's. All those are franchises that have lots and lots of other people doing that kind of work and managing those franchises, and they can help you if you're wondering. You end up with some really good friends that can help give you advice, and down the road you pass it along, pay it forward, and give other people advice. So any franchise, in case you're not sure, it's basically a right that's granted to an individual or a group. A lot of franchises are run by groups that have several stores, but they're given the right to market a company's goods or services within a certain territory or location. That's generally always determined by the franchisor. Okay, they determine the locations they want stores. There can be more advantages than disadvantages to operating a franchise, since it's sort of like buying a business in a box. However, as we see in the disadvantages, where you have limited freedom to make your own decisions, you're not always your own boss, you pay ongoing royalty and other fees, you have a binding contract that limits your exit options, and the franchisor problems become your problems. Profitability can vary widely with the franchises, and you can have these various types of things come up that really affect your profits because they were through no fault of your own, that the franchise is having trouble and they're not marketing their franchises so well as they did, or they're taking longer to come up with maintenance things and stuff like that. Well, some locations, when you look at over franchises, you may see one place that's just 40,000 a year after expenses, and others will net in the six figures. It's location, 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 and your location is chosen for you by the franchisor. Just because a sandwich shop does well in one town, there's no guarantees of equal success in another town. So the franchise should have a well-vetted formula for establishing locations. And usually they pay their location scouts really, really well, because they're not just scouts going, oh, isn't this a nice location? They are looking at the finances, they're studying their surrounding businesses, they're looking at the traffic patterns, they're looking at how many people actually park and get out of their car versus who don't, all this kind of stuff. So there's a lot to be said for buying a franchise, and it can be a really, really, really good choice. That's why some groups actually get involved with having several stores themselves. You'll see that especially in the hamburger places, the Burger Kings and that type of stuff. Often they'll own a whole bunch of them. And because there's a lot of advantages to it as well. Okay. So do consider it. Now, what if you do a home-based or remote business? Well, the advantages is it sure is a convenient work location. Roll out of bed, or heck, don't even roll out of bed. Work from bed. Less overhead is going on. You're not having to rent a building or anything. You got a flexible schedule. You got tax advantages in most towns and the government, if you can prove that you've got, that you're actually using the space for your business, they'll let you write off up to a quarter of your household as, for tax deductions. And you can hire people anywhere in the United States or the world if you're running a remote business or home-based business. You can go to Upwork or Fiverr and find people in all kinds of countries that work for far lower wages than they work for here. And so there's all kinds of ways to get help in an affordable manner when you're working from home. Disadvantages is you got to make sure you don't face any zoning or deed restrictions. In other words, does the zoning for your area disallow home businesses? Some towns they do. Your deed for your apartment or your house, if you're renting, might not allow you to do that either. So you got to make sure. A big disadvantage is isolation from others. If you're in the house all the time and you're working from home, it can be a bit isolating. And so you miss the kind of give and take and feedback and camaraderie building experience of a workplace culture type of thing. So that can be definitely an issue. You may have difficulty in finding financing, even if you've been in business for 2 years, just because there's no brick and mortar or no assets aside from the skill set that you're selling. And especially if you're doing consulting or skills type selling, where you're selling hourly access to your skills, as soon as you have a calamity, your business is folded, unless you have built your business up where you have other people who are also doing those skills. It can act as a workplace buffer to take over when you can't work. So that's one reason why banks are a little wary of home-based businesses and remote businesses, is because so much of it relies on your having good health, and that never is changing. Or not just good health, but good circumstances and no crises, things like that. Also, another big one is family distractions. Now, I know people that have run really, really successful businesses with 12 kids, but it's a challenge. And I've had conversations, I've been mentor for a few of these, and it's impossible for them to have a phone call where they get quiet the whole time. The kids always come in and are oblivious to the fact that you're in a business call and they want attention right now, right? So that can be a bit of a thing. Plus, it's distraction, it's family distractions because you got to go do things for the kids and you got to go meet a taxi service and all that kind of stuff. So it's just something to consider if you're thinking of doing a home-based business. Now, the other thing that a lot of people think of doing is a nice nonprofit business. Advantages is that you might qualify for government or foundation grants. You might qualify for those types of grants because you're a nonprofit. And so you're not having to wait so long to get that kind of grant money. But even with nonprofits, often grants are held back from people that aren't in business for at least 2 years. Again, it's the cash flow management problem. Did they spend the money wisely that they had already or in grants that they got in the past? So it's really scrutinized. But you might qualify. This sometimes do just automatically because you're in a desert where the services you're providing as a nonprofit, just no one else is doing them and the area really needs them. And so you might get grants to help you get started right away. Protection from liability for directors and employees. You're a corporation. It's a nonprofit corporation. And so you've got those corporate benefits in terms of liability. You can pay salaries to employees and consulting fees for contractors. So it's not like nobody's making any money. Everybody gets salaried or gets their fees, okay? The disadvantage is that you got to focus on educational or charitable purposes, and you cannot profit those who created the organization. And that's kind of a deep idea, but I think you get the notion. You can't have the benefits that you're providing the public benefiting you too. Like if you have a food bank, you can't be bringing home food for yourself from the donations that you're getting. That's just a wild example. All profits have to remain within the organization. There's no buying stocks and stuff like that. And you're supposed to just reinvest in the organization. Okay, well, it's a good idea, even if you're a business, to reinvest in yourself first. Unless you're making a lot of money, then you might invest in funds and stuff like that. And you do have to apply and qualify for the 501c3 status and get your sales tax exemption thing going on so you can sell things and not have to pay tax and buy stuff and not have to pay tax also. It becoming important when you're buying big stuff. Okay, so that's nonprofits. Most of them operate with a minimum 3-person board of directors, but some states require a 10-person board. It depends on the state where you incorporate. A not-for-profit status business doesn't have shareholders and it doesn't have owners. It's a true corporation. Okay. And by the way, the board members typically are not paid board members. Still, they have complete power to fire the founder or director or president. If they're your board, they're the board. They can fire people. Let's see. What was I thinking of? You get certain circumstances. You can also apply for that state sales tax exemption, and where you don't have to pay for sales and use taxes on purchases. That's super useful. Let's see. Again, and you might be able to get grants. That's what I was thinking of. I would start right off the beam, starting to at least begin filing for grants and build relationships and get your name known so people know you. Grants are a very much cozy type of a thing where people want to feel like they know you. Just like when you're selling people stuff, they want to feel like they can know, like, and trust you, right? Before they'll pull their wallet out. Same thing when you're dealing with grant organizations where you're asking them for a large sum of money for something, or even if just $1,000, nonetheless. They want to feel like they know who they're dealing with and that you've got integrity and you're going to spend the money well and wisely, and that you really are driven by motives that are honorable. So that takes some building of trust and stuff like that. It's people, they're human beings. They want to know what kind of people they're giving the money to. It comes down to it. So there you go. The big disadvantage is, though, you have to realize those corporate profits cannot be distributed to shareholders or high-level managers. All profits remain within the organization. There's no owners of the corporation. Okay. So anyway, it's a lot to know, a lot to do. It's very rewarding, and I have several clients over the last 11 years who run nonprofits. I've had 7 nonprofits myself in the arts, and it's worthwhile doing, and you can really make a great impression and impact on your region or on your country by having a nonprofit. So how can we lose? Big nonprofits like the Boy Scouts of America, American Red Cross, Girls Clubs of America, Girls Incorporated, those are the big ones, but there's lots and lots of smaller ones that do specialty services for their communities that are just as important for that community. So you might be able to help out in that area, make people's lives better. Okay, now let's say you're going to want to start an online business. The advantages there: lower startup costs, growing consumer acceptance to shop online, expanded geographic reach, as in the entire planet Earth, convenience and accessibility for customers who can shop 24/7, and flexibility for you to do business anytime from anywhere. Disadvantages: the low barriers of entry means there's going to be more competition. I wouldn't worry about that too much, though. Never, don't commoditize what you do. Always differentiate. And you're selling you. People want to do business with people, not with things. And so They're not just buying stuff, they're having a relationship with people. So by your being totally about customer service and about helping people and maybe providing some differentiating customer services and support systems and stuff like that, and really good checkout, a really enhanced purchasing experience. Those are things that you can do that set you apart from your competition and make people want to do business with you personally. And they build what's called customer loyalty, and that's what you want to go for. All right. Also, consumers do have higher expectations and are less tolerant of problems. So that's why you really want to work out all of those customer service kinks and make sure that your customer service department is stellar. Another disadvantage, though, is it's online business, so there's no personal contact, limited sensory info for customers. So you're talking to people through emails and through chats and stuff like that. So you can't really see their facial expressions when they can't believe you just said that or whatever. And so that can make it a little strange, but I would recommend trying to build up a some kind of a phone services type of thing, or at least get into a good chat type of situation. Your customer service rules the day when talking online businesses, no matter how you do it. And speed of delivery is another big one. Again, though, do not allow yourself to commoditize, meaning don't turn your business into a selling of commodities, of things. Make it so you're selling the specialness that is you and your company. All right, well, components of owning a business is the next step. So ever wonder just how many hats are you going to wear? Well, you're going to be the CEO, you're going to be administrative staff, you're going to do the accounting, going to take care of the spreadsheets, your human resources, making sure you hired good people and they're doing the work. You're going to handle the marketing, you're going to do the sales, you're going to do the customer service, you're going to do the production and fulfillment, and you're going to have to know the technology and how to fix the computer and the copy machine and take care of the facilities, as in chief cook and bottle washer and mopping the floor and cleaning the bathroom. So when you start out, you'll end up wearing most of or many of these hats, depending on how much help you can get from other people. So it's a lot of little specialties, and none of them are really of lesser importance than the others, right? If you have a weakness in any of these areas, like you're uncomfortable working with numbers, plan on getting a bookkeeper or take a class to improve your skills, or find somebody that can to help you out here. So you got to think, how do you envision your own organizational chart now and in the future? Think it through. What roles will you hire out and in what order of priority? Just kind of noodle that through. You do want to think about this. And don't let this scare you away, though. Most of these things, it's 15, 20 minutes a day in different areas, like for your accounting and human resourcing, working with your folks and hiring people and things. They don't take the whole day. You'll spend a lot more time in your marketing and sales and customer service area, maybe in production and fulfillment. Me, when I do a business course, I mostly dress like a CEO and prance around and say intelligent sounding things. So I get other people to do all the other stuff. Sure, I do. Okay. No, don't be like me. There we go. All right. So marketing. Yay for marketing. I'm a marketing nutcase. I love marketing. It's really, really fun. But what the heck is it? Well, there's strategies that you use to create desire in people to purchase, and not just purchase, but purchase from you. Marketing is what creates and promotes your image and builds your brand, so people start recognizing you as your company. It's, oh yeah, that's that company. I love that company. You want that kind of word of mouth thing going on. Your customers are your best marketers for you, best advertisers. But just realize your product or service will not sell itself. You just put the sign up on the door. That's the lowest level of marketing. Marketing is not just about advertising either. It's about building relationships, okay? Joe Polish and Dean Jackson have a thing at the I Love Marketing website that really goes through what they call the before unit, the during unit, and the after unit. And all of those are marketing concepts. The before unit is how you get people in the door and how you make them want to explore your company and take a look at you, and how you make it look all sparkly, and how you kind of encourage them to come by and maybe provide a coupon or some really cool information that's helpful to them. I'd highly recommend that. Then the during unit is when they're actually in your shop or on your website or actually on the phone with you or actually working with you providing them services. And all the different ways that you make it easy for them to have that experience, how the looks of your shop, if you got a retail or some other kind of office situation, or people come into your space, and the experience of what checkout is like, the experience of what payment is like, the experience of what customer service is like. That's the during unit. And then the after unit is how you make the customers for life, how you create a situation where they're still getting perks and neat things from you even long after they've left the store, and they're still hearing from you. And it's not just hey, come back and buy more stuff type of relationship. It's a relationship where you're actually doing stuff for them and making their lives better, right, forever. And then ask for referrals. That's also part of the after unit. It's when you ask people for referrals to send people that they know, and you make that where it's a comfortable and easy and fun situation for them. Okay, so that's marketing in a nutshell. And I highly encourage you to go at it as if it's really fun, and just get rid of the myth that it's manipulating people. It is not. It is educating people as to your presence and how you can help them and solve their problems. Now, branding, a lot of people say branding, is that part of marketing? It's sort of part of marketing. It's where you have your logo and your look and like all the different ways that you kind of create an identity for your business so that people know, oh, this came from your place. Okay, so that might be your logo, the name recognition. You might have a clever name for your thing. Like, look at my clever name, Terry Britton. It's like everybody knows. Well, no, I better come up with another name. Nonetheless, name recognition is important. Qualification of products and services is part of it. Your market identity of how people position you and when they think of you, how you sit in the market. Are you in the luxury sector? Are you in the nuts and bolts, convenience sector? Where are you sitting in as far as the market that you're in, that you're identified with? And branding also is through your advertising, where you have the advertising that has a similar type of a theme or similar vibe or feeling to it over time, and it helps establish what your kind of attitude and mood and your identity again. So that's branding. You want to have to do some work on that and think about it. Now you might have different types of situations where you're targeting different types of audiences. And but yeah, just always think about that kind of stuff, okay? Now, when you're talking about brands, of course, we got the big brands that we all know: Nike, Apple, McDonald's, Target, Nordstrom's. You know, what qualities do those places represent that you can think of that are big brands? And do they represent value or innovation, performance, cost? So those are all considerations. Now, often we have a discussion about this, but because of time, we're going to just kind of keep plowing through on this. But this is a topic to talk with. Really focus on talking with your mentor about what your identity, your brand identity might be, because that's a whole specialty area. And in fact, it's an area you might want to bring in a co-mentor whose whole thing is the branding side. Now, sales, of course, selling focuses on the needs of you, the seller, to convert products to cash, okay? Marketing focuses on the needs of the buyer and the need to satisfy the customer through the products produced. So you get it. Marketing is about the buyer has some needs and you're going to solve their problems for them. And you're letting them know you can solve the problem. So when it comes to sales, that's when you're having to show the person what you've got, but eventually you got to ask for the order. It's like if you don't ask for the order, then you've already gotten a no for an answer, right? Just like anything like that. And so sales involves contact and connecting with the customers, finding prospects who might be interested in buying, and those might come in the door as a result of the marketing. You got to make presentations, for whatever presentations. They might be speaking in front of groups or just the presentation that's one-on-one with you and the customer. You got to prepare bids if you're in that kind of a business. And you got to close the deals and process the orders. Closing the deals is asking for the orders, saying, so how would you like that wrapped up? Okay. When you ask a question like that, it presupposes a yes. It's okay. It's a kind of questioning that salespeople are trained in. It pays to read a little something about how salespeople make sales. Don't think of it as manipulation, which it could be construed as. You're helping the person come to a decision that's going to benefit them. And really be there for them. You're there for them, not just to be making money. You're there for the customers. When you're really there for the customers, they will be there with you forever. And that's kind of what you want. And of course, the last step of sales is processing the orders and making sure the customer gets what they got, whether they're getting it shipped to them in a timely manner from an online store, for instance, or if you're just wrapping it really nice. So a friend of mine was in Japan and said every single thing they ever bought at any of the stores was wrapped in this gorgeous origami packaging type of thing that nothing ever left without looking gorgeous, just the packaging. Well, that's pretty cool. But I don't know. It just sounds great. But you process the orders in many different ways. I buy a lot of stuff from Sweetwater Sound, and they always put a little package of candy in every box when I receive it. There's a little package of candy because they're Sweetwater, right? And they've been doing that for years. It identifies them, it establishes their brand, but it also gives you this nice vibe and energy when you open the box. So, all right, let's talk about having the skills. You got to think about the functionality and the packaging of your product or service. And you got to consider the quality and consider who needs it, why they need it, how is it different or better than the competition, okay? So you got to think, well, am I weak in any of these areas of my business operation? Can you take a course to improve your skills? Are there any duties that don't fill your skills? Can you hire employees, take on a partner, or outsource these tasks? Even if you're skilled in all the roles, you won't have time to handle all of them, so you have to decide which are the most important to your business and which will you focus on and which ones can you delegate, okay? Now, always think through with your product and service, who needs it, why do they need it, and how is it different or better than the competition? On the score.org thing under the templates thing, you'll see at the very tip top a thing called the Business Model Canvas template. And that asks those very questions. Who are your customers? Who needs your stuff? And why? What do they need it for? What differentiates you from your competition? Okay. And other questions like who your suppliers are going to be, where are you going to get the money, what's your cash flow going to look like, what are your expenses going to look like, what's your incoming cash flow and revenue streams, what kind of revenue streams will you be able to take advantage of? In other words, you don't necessarily only make money from just the one thing, from the sales of something. It might be you also make money from a maintenance agreement or from doing repairs, out of warranty repairs, or from doing consulting or whatever. There's many different ways that sometimes that you can package different types of things and help people out from different avenues to get the financial revenue streams. So do think about revenue streams. What ones do I have? That business model canvas lets you think these things through and list out those answers to those questions. And it's really a cool exercise. I highly recommend it. Okay. Let's go to the other critical factors. You've heard this before: location, location, location. Of course, where are you? Where are you located? And are you in an area where there are customers for what you do? Are you in an area where you can reach the customers that you need to reach? Well, the internet has become a leveling force, you might say, in helping us contact people. So, so that's becoming less a problem, but you still need to know how to do internet marketing, right? And so, so that's worth taking a look at and maybe talking to your mentor about, maybe getting some help, maybe reading some books or taking some courses. We have a lot of information about that at score.org, and YouTube has gobs and gobs of stuff. Just be selective what you pick, because sometimes people are making, anybody can make a video, but whether the information is correct or not is another thing. We try to be a little on the side of correct at Score, so it's really good to use at the workshops that they have, and they have a lot on social media, on marketing, on the financial sides, all that kind of stuff. So another thing is your niche and your product market. My niche, that means who you're focused on, that makes you different from competition, because you're not trying to sell everybody in the whole universe. You're breaking it down to where it's just women with kids, single moms with kids might be your primary audience target, right? Or it might be men who like a certain sport. Your niche is the target market area that your product is going to do best, because you can provide services for that target market that go beyond what a generalist type of a competition might be offering. They're selling to everybody, so they just basically have your general basic services. But let's say you're mostly selling to men's gear for skiing, and you go beyond just having the gear. You include sizing, customizations, education about how to use the gear. You might have roving, if you're near a ski area, you might have roving tutors that are giving ski lessons and all kinds of stuff that are focused on that clientele. And because then it's the kind of products you sell, you see. So a niche determines a lot what kind of products you have based on the audience that you're serving. And just always think, I'm in business to serve, because that is what it really is about. And so by finding out who you can serve the best with what you got, then you get to really narrow down your niche, and you'll be more successful by focusing on really, really satisfying a smaller audience than trying to satisfy all. You've heard the old statement, please all, please none. That's exactly what they were talking about. When you do niche down, your competition narrows down too, because competition generally, it's a bunch of people going for everywhere, trying to get everybody. When you narrow down your niche, you beat the competition by having better services that are target focused on making the best experience for that target audience, okay? And really finding out what their particular needs and unique needs are, and making those needs fulfilled. Also, you got the distribution things to think about. How you're going to get your stuff out there. Can you get it out there? Do you have to stay local? Is your a local store? Your distribution is from people buying in your store, or are you able to ship? Are you able to sell outside? Well, of course we can now. Everybody can ship anywhere in the world. And so that's the other thing though. You got to think through, how am I going to do my distribution? How broad do I want to reach? And stuff like that. And then your merchandising. Merchandising is like, that's where how you make your stuff look in your store, for instance, how you present the stuff that you sell. That's what merchandising is, the presentation part. In a store, it's where they put the aisles in the store, and what they have in each aisle, and what they put on the end caps, and how they make it look nice, and when they have a sale, what the signage looks like for sales. That's what merchandising is in a store type thing, like a grocery store is a typical example. It's how you make stuff look cool. How do you do with the window dressing, for instance? How do you make the window look cool so people see your shop from outside and they want to come in? It looks warm and cozy, and and inviting. So that's your merchandising side. So it's a critical factor, and there are people that specialize in just the merchandising part. So go ahead and think that one through. And yeah, it's important considerations. The other critical factor is good old price. If you're trying to set your prices, well, what's the consumer reaction to your prices? Are they walking in your store and walking right out because they think your prices are too high? Or are you positioning yourself through the merchandising and through the look of your place and just your niche may be about higher prices and more premium objects and products or services even. But if you do have that, be prepared to see some consumer reaction. It helps you realize that your prices help a part of defining your niche, but your niche also can help provide information about what the pricing should be like. Also, what's the cost for your goods? If your costs are too high, you won't be able to do much of a markup without people thinking that you're charging too much. But again, if you differentiate by breaking away from the commodities mindset and think about how you're going to differentiate yourself to provide real extra services and make the experience of working with you special, then that can all offset that kind of stuff. Your competition again is going to be don't let them ever lure you into a price war because it's always a losing battle. And they may have the deep pockets. They can survive keeping their prices really low till they put you out of business. Also, you got your credit terms and discount, how you're going to set that up of giving people credit and how you're going to set it up when you give discounts on things, when you're going to have sales, basically. So you got to think those little factors through. Now let's think about assessing access your competitors. What they're talking about access your competitors is basically going and spying on your competitors a little bit. Okay. As Herbert Hoover said, competition is not only the basis of protection to the consumer, but it's also the incentive to progress. And so if you've got competition, go take a look at what they're doing, really study what they're doing. Understanding your competitors helps you position your business. And so it's a good idea to study at least 3 competing businesses and figure out where your prices fit, what guarantees they offer, and what advantages and disadvantages they have. And that's also included in the business model canvas as a key area in the business model canvas where you put down what their advantages and disadvantages are and the places that you can outshine them by differentiating yourself. So look at the size of their operation, how many employees they have. There's a databases in North Carolina at NC Live and at your library that can show the exact number of employees and what their area, their plant is and all that kind of good information. So you can find out what your competition's got in terms of employees without having to go there. Find out what their price and quality is. You might be able to find their online presence and see their price. Find out what services they provide. Again, that's probably going to be spelled out online, or you can call them up. Find out what their reputations are, whether they have strengths and weaknesses in that regard. And also do make personal visits and observations, okay? Now, don't be like some places. I've worked in places where we've had spies from other stores, from competing stores come in and write down our prices because they wanted to do price war thing and lull us into that. Fortunately, the places I worked for were into such amazing customer service experience. We never had to worry about it. But you might be lulled in. But when you're making personal visits, don't be doing it from that kind of a mindset. If you're looking, see how they're doing their merchandising, how are they presenting their wares, how are they treating customers that come in? We have a grocery store here that it's company policy that if you ask where something is, they walk you to the item and don't leave you until you see it. Here it is. And little things like that. I never expected, that kind of stuff. It's a little thing, but it makes you remember it, because I just remembered it just now. Find out who their suppliers and contractors are if you can find out. And also look around and see what other businesses are in the area around your competitors. See who they're cohabiting or in the midst of. Some places set up near like a big store because the big store, like a Walmart or something, is attracting so much traffic to the area that it means that they'll have traffic whether they're providing good services or not. So take a look at the other businesses in the area, see if the reason why they might be having, keeping their doors open is strictly because they have so much darn traffic. Okay, it's another bunch of stuff. Now let's get into making it legal. This is really important stuff. You have several different formats. You have good old sole proprietorship. Most businesses start this way. The owner is the sole manager, decision maker, and the income tax is based on the owner's individual tax return. So you do a Schedule C to get your deductions on business expenses. Sole proprietorship downside is the owner's liability is unlimited pretty much. Meaning if something the business gets sued for, you're being sued. Okay. Startup capital might be difficult to raise because you're sole proprietor. Everything relies on you being around to do the work. And if you can't, boom, the cash flow stops. Okay. And plus the business may dissolve and disappear when the owner dies. So that's all considerations, downsides. Another is the partnership. It's used to share management responsibilities between co-owners, and it might be used when one partner is an investor and you're doing all the work, okay? They may provide the money side and you do the work. So that's one form of partnership that's actually very, very, very common. Income is taxed at the partner level. The partnership downside is that profits are shared between partners. There's all same as sole proprietorship, unlimited liability. Each partner is individually liable, and they need an extensive partnership agreement with options for exiting the business. That's already written into the agreement. So it's already spelled out. If one partner is going to leave, what's got to happen if they leave, okay? And you definitely want a lawyer for that. So, the LLC, which stands for Limited Liability Company, not corporation, company. It offers liability protection for owners, and it's not hard to form. It's very low cost. You form it, you can set it up online. In North Carolina, you go to the NC Department of Revenue, DOR, okay, ncdor.gov, and you can see where you can set up your sole proprietorship. It's a form you walk through. Sometimes the form breaks. At the very end, they're supposed to give you your LLC number right away. And I've done it with several people, and we got to the end and it didn't give us the number right away. We had to wait till the next day to call in and try to get the number that we needed, because you need the number when you want to get your tax ID. So, but it's not hard to form, and there's very few rules and restrictions. Unlike corporations, they have gobs of rules. It's you're basically a sole proprietorship on steroids. So the downside is if there's partners involved, because there are LLC partnerships too, you need a partner agreement, all written out in advance. You're subject to state franchise fees and income taxes in some cases. And some restrictions on ownership and transfer can exist. So you got to look into it and talk to someone at the Department of Revenue and find out what's going on. Okay. Actually, wait, that's not Department of Revenue. That's the State Department. Sorry. Department of Revenue is where you go for your tax ID. It's the NC State Department, and I can't remember the URL for it, but yeah, that's Attorney General's office. So I'm trying to say. Okay. Then there's the C Corporation. And it's easier to raise capital or transfer ownership through sale of shares when you have a C corporation. You actually get some shares right away. It limits liability for the shareholders and owners because you're a corporation, and it's the corporation is like in disembodied head. Okay, there's no person involved, and it continues to exist until intentionally dissolved. So it doesn't matter if people die in the corporation continues to exist, whether the founders are still alive or not. The C Corp downside is that it's expensive to form and maintain. You really have to lay out some bucks to set one up. There's more extensive legal requirements. The profits might be taxed twice. The corporation gets taxed, which is got your money involved with the corporation, and then you're taxed as the owner in your personal income tax as well. So some people really hate that, especially if they're making a lot of money and they own the corporation and most of the assets. It's also subject to state franchise fee and income tax, just like the other LLCs are. The other thing is the S corporation or subchapter type of corporation. The profits are only taxed once at a shareholder level, because you're a shareholder type thing, and is limited liability for shareholders. So the owners are the shareholders. And there's a withholding tax advantage. The downside is it's limited to 100 shareholders, and the shareholders have to be individuals. Unlike with a C corporation, you can't have shareholders that are corporations. And the shareholders got to be individuals, certain trusts or estates, and you may not include partnerships, corporations, or non-resident alien shareholders. So there's some limitations, but this is stuff when you get into the C corporation and S corporation and setting one up, I would definitely get hold of a lawyer and pay them the bucks to help you set it up, because there's a lot of little things you want to write into your incorporation plans and your bylaws and stuff like that, and policies, because you want to protect yourself from many different things on the tax side, on the federal regulation side, international operations, all these different things. There's a lot to consider, but the nice thing is that it's going to go on in perpetuity, whether you're around or not. And so it's a legacy side to it that a lot of people appreciate. And it's can grow and grow, and it's a corporation. So what can I say? It's going to be probably worth the effort, but you're usually not going to start one off right away, even if you think that your idea is just amazing. It's a good idea to wait and test your things, most likely, with the limited liability corporation or sole proprietorship level. Okay, so I should bring it up. As they say, keep it simple. Just was saying it. Keep it at a sole proprietorship or partnership, and if liability or taxation is a concern, do the LLC or an S corporation, which has got the limited number of shares. LLC is recommended over a partnership. The attorney fees for setting up are similar, taxation is the same, and there's limited liability for an LLC that does not exist in a partnership. So LLCs have a lot going for them, and they're very, very popular these days. And like I say, you really can set one up yourself. You should discuss your options though with an attorney or an accountant. SCORE mentors are also available to help you understand your options. And there's some people that are really, really sharp about this because they're basically retired accountants that are now volunteering to be SCORE mentors. They know a lot about this stuff, even retired lawyers. Okay, so let's go to the government regulation stuff. Business licenses and approvals, your labor laws, your immigration laws, and good old IRS and Social Security withholding and payments. Do not ignore those. And there's also your workman's comp and things like that. So you got to apply for a business license with your county, even if you're sole proprietorship. It's, I think, $28 cash at your local registrar of deeds in most counties in North Carolina. And with that $28 in cash, and I mean $28, three tens and expect $3 change. Have the exact change. Yes, I've had that emphasized to me 10 million times. And also call them up and see if they've raised the prices. It just went into a new year, so it might be. You get 5 sole proprietorship names, 5 business names to do business as. And you check the little box at the bottom left, and it says doing business in all 100 counties of North Carolina. And boom, you instantly can do business in all 100 counties of North Carolina. So it's a pretty cool deal. Okay. So you got to do that. That gets started. And even if you're LLC, it's not expensive. Okay. And some cities require a business license that's separate from what you're doing with the sole proprietorship stuff. Fees often low. I've seen it as low as $50 a year to set up your business license. And but it's another income source for the towns, and so they charge it. Yeah, so sometimes you get a business license charge if you're doing a home business too. You got to look into it, make sure you're doing it. You don't want to get yelled at by those folks. And the application process varies depending on the type of business you're in. Now, there's certain zoning restrictions that might apply for some home-based businesses, so double check with the zoning people. And also businesses in certain categories, like those that sell alcohol or sell used goods. Okay, that's a very common restriction where they don't allow those types of businesses in certain areas or a different distance from a school and things like that. If you hire help, you've got to comply with the labor laws, and you've got to put their poster that they send you up on the wall where everybody can see it. Or you might have to buy a poster. I don't remember if they still give it to you. Most office supply places sell the poster. It's got all the rights under the labor laws that you have in your state listed. So there's guidelines that detail how many hours the employees can work, frequency of the breaks, and other factors. There's also laws governing the hiring of immigrants. As an employer, even if the only person you pay is yourself, you've got to follow the IRS and state guidelines for withholding taxes and Social Security, and then set up accounts with your bank to deposit those funds. Now, do you hear that? You have to set up accounts with your bank to deposit those funds. In other words, a separate savings account where you put these monies because you're going to have to transfer from that account through electronic transfer, funds transfer, to the to withholding and Social Security in most cases. Now, I recommend for anybody in collecting sales tax to also have a savings account dedicated to the sales tax. You never put your sales tax money into the checking account of your business. Create a separate savings account, put that money in there, because this is what happens to people, especially new into the business. You only have to file every 3 months, right? And so they just have it in checking and have it in checking and along comes a big unexpected bill they didn't know they were going to get this soon, and so they pay the bill, and all of a sudden they don't have the tax money owed to the state. And what happens next is they don't pay the full amount. And what happens next? They get fined, a big fine, a notoriously huge fine. Don't let that happen to you. Always put at the end of the day, I don't care where the money goes to start with, when you make your deposits, deposit and checking, then go in and figure out how much the taxes were and transfer those funds through your online banking and transfer them right into that savings account, and do never touch that until it's time to pay off your taxes. And I would say the same thing for Social Security and withholding taxes. Never make those funds be in untouchable locations. Okay. That's the end of that lecture. That's probably the most important thing I've said all evening. Okay. Insurance considerations. Now, you got your property, your liability, motor vehicles, umbrella liability, workman's compensation, health, life, and business interruption insurances. Yes, lots of insurances, lots of them. Well, you don't necessarily need all of them, but you might need a bunch of them, okay? Your property, of course, covers fire and other loss to buildings, your building contents, the inventory, and you got a home office business. essential that you have your stuff covered. Liability is about covering other people's problems. When they have bodily injury, they trip over something, they fall over a rock that you left to hold your door open, whatever. And also property damage to others caused by accidents on your property. Like say your awning fell off the darn window and damaged the awning of the neighboring place because of a windstorm. You could be held liable for that and have to pay for it. If a customer slips and falls at your place of business, that's why people freak out in any business and got all the signage that goes up, wet floor, because it's a lot of money lost and their rates go up if they have to file for their insurance. As you know, from having a car, have any claims, it goes up whether it was your fault or not. So motor vehicles, of course, going to cover bodily injury and property damage resulting from the business use of your cars, your motor vehicles. Like if you have an employee who drives a company car to make deliveries, you got to get extra coverage, okay? And you have umbrella liability, provides additional layers of liability insurance above the limits that are provided in your basic automobile and general liability policies. And if you're doing events, by the way, there's events liability insurance is separate from regular business liability. And I tell you, it's like so much less, tiny bit of money extra to get a whole year worth of event liability insurance versus just getting a weekend. You know, it's practically the same cost to get one weekend's worth of liability, like for people do it for big wedding receptions and stuff, versus getting a whole year's worth that covers thousands of people being at your events for a whole year. So just keep that in mind if you're doing events. And events are a great way to promote your business, by the way. Workman's compensation covers your injuries, death, and loss of wages to workers on the job, including the owner. If this coverage is not provided, injured employees may sue the owner for damages, including lost wages. And that's where your liability stuff of being a sole proprietor can kick in and be a real pain in the butt. Okay. So it's one of the reasons why people worry about that. But if you've got the workman's compensation insurance going and states require that you do, then it won't be as big a worry. Just make sure you can cover your people. My mom was an insurance agent. She said, just always buy twice of what the minimum is and you'll be covered. Health, if you rely on your current job to receive health insurance, you will need to investigate health insurance options. So go to healthcare.gov to see how the Affordable Care Act affects you. And life insurance, if your family relies on your income, then life insurance can take care of them if something happens to you. And then business interruption insurance, which is big out on the Outer Banks because we have hurricanes and stuff, shut everybody down. It covers the loss of income you might have if a disaster requires your facility or storefront to be rebuilt. It's not sold as standalone policy, but it can be added to the business property insurance policy or comprehensive package policies. So talk to your insurance agent. And remember, there's your regular old insurance agent that sells all of your car insurance and life insurance and stuff like that. But then there are specialty insurers that are just for businesses. And that's where I would always go to get liability insurance. All right. So, all right. Business plan basics. Now, I already brought up the idea of the going and getting that template get a business model canvas to get started with your business plan. So I want to just say me in the chat if you have a business plan already. I mean, a formal business plan of some kind. It doesn't have to be the full-blown 20-page thing, the executive summary and all that, but just let me know if you have one. Put it in the chat. I think chat is, yeah, good, Patrick, good. Got Jeff's got one. Working on one, says Amber. Okay, excellent. Tom, all right. Good old ChatGPT works well for that stuff, doesn't it? Grace, yes, and Catherine. Use AI. Yes, I say use AI. Yes. Working on, but have questions. Cool. The thing is that business model canvas is a great way to get a base business plan together that gives you the guidance and the compass and all that kind of stuff and helps you identify who your customers are and what you sell and how you differentiate, who your suppliers are going to be, what tools you're going to need, what kind of support systems you're going to have, and what your revenue streams are going to be. Those are the basic things that you end up putting in your business plan, along with the spreadsheets. We also have templates for all the important spreadsheets. That you would need also at the SCORE template gallery. So, and if you think of templates, I mean, of spreadsheets as if it was a dream machine, you really approach it that way, then you get to see how you can play with it and do future casting and play with the future and see what would I have to do to end up with this much money, this much, build my business up by a certain date, that kind of thing. And it can be entertaining that way. But it's important to get the right figures in and get them in accurately. And by having that record keeping system along with the projection sheet, that's what banks going to want to see after you've been around for a couple of years and you built out in this business and you got those 2 years of really good sheets and you got a 5-year projections of where you were thinking of going, maybe 10-year projections if you're really ambitious and really dream big. So but that's what banks want to see eventually is the spreadsheets. In fact, 2 bankers told me that they look over your business plan and make sure you got the executive summary, the description of your business, your marketing plan. And then they just throw it all over their shoulder and just look at your spreadsheets. So put a lot of energy into your spreadsheets, please. All right, so the business plan's really important. It gives you an objective view of your business. You can kind of step back from getting overly excited about this big deal and start really grounding yourself. It's good to have your head in the clouds and feet on the ground at the same time, right? So, so anyway, yes, I see. So you want to do that. You're going to need it for loans down the road when you finally get to that point. It's really a foundation for your planning, and it's a really powerful management tool using a business plan because it's where you have it in writing of what your thoughts are and what your plans are. It's a plastic and fluid thing. It's a living document. It's never, things aren't set in stone just because you wrote it down, but it helps you to have it written down because it helps ground your thinking. And like I say, it helps let you consider whether this is still a good idea, whether you need to make a change and just think in a different direction. You may learn some new information, or you may find out that your real clientele are a completely unexpected niche, and that's your real clients. And so you might reorient your business plan to focus on that kind of client, you see, and those services for that client. And it also communicates your ideas really well. But remember, that whole idea of the business model canvas is on one single sheet of paper. You can slap it in front of anybody and it explains your entire business in 1 page or 2 pages if you use the expanded version. And it's the greatest thing because you can finally just slap it down in front of those the doubting ones in your family and say, well, this is what I'm doing. And they're going to shut up because they're going to see that you got an actual plan and it actually all makes sense. Okay. So very useful, if only for the satisfaction of getting those naysayers in the family to shut up, whatever. Okay. So you're going to have in a real full-blown business plan, you'll have the table of contents, the executive summary. You'll have section 1 be the business, section 2 be the financial forecast, and section 3 be the supporting data. And supporting data and the financial forecasts are usually spreadsheets. Okay. So, how much time do I have? By the way, I can't see my clock because I turned my phone off. Maybe I do this. Oh, I'm doing okay. I got 15 minutes. Excellent, excellent. Okay. So this, like I say, this used to be a much bigger part of what SCORE did. It was a major, major, major part of what we did was mostly get people to write out their business plans. But now that everything has shifted to where the business plan is not as useful till you're at the 2-year mark, where banks will even consider you for a loan. It's still important, but now we've got people to do the business model canvas because it communicates your ideas well to you, to other people, and it gets you started in thinking in this kind of a fashion of overall planning and seeing the big picture. And so get started with the business model canvas, and as that thing gels and starts making total sense, you'll have all the data that you want in that evolving business model canvas sheet that you then can transfer over and simply flesh out into the full-blown business plan, you see? And like I'm encouraging you, start right away fooling around with spreadsheets and learning how to keep them up to date and how to play with them and with the formulas that they have. And the ones that we have at SCORE already have the formulas built in, so it's pretty cool. Okay, so we're getting there. So every business owner needs, and this is actually spelled wrong because it's B-L-A-I-B. That spells blabe, but we normally spell it as what is it, bail? Whatever. Anyway, a banker, a lawyer, an accountant, an insurance agent, and a business mentor. That's especially these four, B-A-I-L, okay? Banker, accountant, insurance agent, and lawyer. So don't mean to put the lawyers last, but nonetheless, that's what it spells. An easier to remember acronym, BAIL. And you need the banker, a relationship with your banker from the very get-go. Even if you can't get a loan right away, it doesn't matter. Meet with the bank officers, the loan officers, meet with the bank manager. See if you like these people. See if they feel like they click with your vision and your dream and what you're doing. If they're mostly about one kind of business, and that's what they do, and you see that they really don't have any businesses in their stable of customers that are like you, or they don't even know what you're talking about when you talk about your business, get out of there. There's other banks. Start a relationship early with a bank that you can consider them like family because you're going to have a relationship for years with these people and you want them to be supportive of what you do, please. Okay? So then you'll have a great experience that'll last for years. Okay? And so I usually need to wrap up. Well, I do wrap. What do you mean wrap? I'm the one who wraps at 7:30, right? Jeremy?
Uh, sorry, sorry to interrupt. Usually the library starts talking right around 7 or so because the workshop itself wraps at 7:30.
Gravy.
Sorry, like I
I
said,
did
sorry to
not know
interrupt.
that. Well, tell me about that when
No.
I start next year, when I do this again.
Sorry
Okay.
about that.
Okay, I'll go through the rest of the slides. So let's go through the quick small business readiness self-assessment. Do this self-assessment. Oh, forget about this. Get past this. This is a little thing you'll get when you get the slide deck, okay? You can look at this stuff and think this through. Do I have this stuff? And do a self-assessment, okay? So for your homework, do a vision statement of your business idea and have the overall purpose. Describe the products. Explain what's important. I thought I had till 7:30. All righty. It doesn't matter. We're almost done, really. So sign up. Well, you can sign up for if we're going to continue doing. I don't even know. Do we continue doing the simple steps? Jane, do we do them? I don't know if we do the whole series. But I think that
We don't really do the whole series anymore, although there's talking about starting it again. So
all right,
Yeah.
good. But there's so many resources at SCORE, it's ridiculous. So just go to SCORE, watch all the workshops. They have live things all the time. We have live Q&A and all that kind of good stuff and a lot of recorded seminars. So remember, when you're testing your business, look at the startup basics, the business concept, the marketing plan, the financial matters, and the funding options. We talked about that at length. And bloop, bloop. So we're gonna send what's that? I went back. What happened? So we don't have, like, sign up for any workshops you can at score.org that look interesting to you. Plus the state has many and Charlotte chapter has many that are doing them all the time. We're going to send out a workshop survey, I suppose, and you'll probably get that when you get the links to the recording.
Yes, actually, the survey will go out shortly after we finish tonight.
Okay, good.
Mhm.
And that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to stop the share. No, that's all. I'm done. Fantastic.
Well, thank you so
All
much,
right,
Terry.
over to you, Jeremy.
Well, thank you so much, Terry. That
You have
was
to talk really
wonderful.
fast, though, Jeremy. You got to really talk fast.
Yeah, hey, I can do that. I'm from up north. I can do that. Before the library actually kicks off, I am thrilled to introduce Monica Molina with the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina, a very special guest for tonight. So, Monica, take it away.
Thank you so much, Jeremy and Terry. Thank you so much for all of the great information that you shared. So my name is Monica Molina, and I am a small business advisor with the Economic Development Partnership. I am trying to send my contact, there it goes, contact information in the chat. So our team is funded by the state of North Carolina. We exist by legislative mandate. So the General Assembly formed our organization some years ago. And we exist to provide a checklist of all of the requirements, the legal and compliance requirements. So there was a bit in Terry's presentation about the permits and licensing, agencies that you need to register with, and information about the taxes and who to contact for that. So historically, we were originally the permit and licensing team, but now we will help folks with filling out their articles of organization or incorporation, understanding the regulatory aspects of having the business. I often tell our callers that we refer you to SCORE for the strategic, and we will handle the tactical. We'll get you, hitting the buttons and making sure that your business is registered and in compliance. We strongly encourage folks to take advantage of the templates, especially the business model canvas, to get those preparatory steps done, because any successful business that you can think of has done that and reviews it regularly, both a written business plan, but also the financial projection, so that you understand what it's going to take to make your business successful. So we partner with SCORE and other organizations that provide those types of mentorship. I saw that Teresa or somebody had put in the chat, how do I get connected with a mentor? And that's right on the SCORE landing page. I'm on your page every day for something. I've used the tools myself in my own entrepreneurship endeavors. So my contact information is in there. We are available Monday through Friday from 8 to 5 p.m. I also included the link to request support. Best way to get the most out of our team is to let us know your county, which is Mecklenburg County, probably, right? Because here we are in Charlotte, and the type of work you're doing. And then we will respond with any regulatory agencies, licenses and permits, and steps to make sure that your business is in compliance. So Jeremy, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Let me say all of that.
Well, thank you for joining us, Monica. We're very happy to have you. I'm going to start by dropping my contact information in chat as well. You're welcome to reach out to me. I am a librarian with the Charlotte and Mecklenburg Library, but if you're not in Mecklenburg County, I'm still more than happy to help you as best I can. I'm going to talk about several resources tonight. Most of them are available statewide with your library card. It's part of the, as Terry mentioned earlier, NC Live, which is a consortium that the General Assembly funds to buy resources for libraries across the state. There is one, unfortunately, that is specific to Mecklenburg County. If you need a specific data point from that, you're welcome to email me and I'll do what I can to pull it. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to start off at the library's homepage, and then you go to research and learn here, and then resource A to Z list is what I usually do, just because I'm a fan of A to Z lists. And this shows you all of the resources we have. For those of you that are working on business plans and would like some examples, there is Gale eBooks. And if you're not on a library computer at this point, when I go to, let me get the SCORE or the Zoom overlay out of my way. When I go to Access Now here, it will ask for your library card. On a library computer like I'm on, it takes you straight in. Don't be alarmed. Come on, you could load. There we go. Don't be alarmed by how dated some of these look. The resource that I'm going to show you in the business section, the Business Plans Handbook, is updated multiple times every year. They already have one for 2025, and we just crossed into it. But this will give you sample business plans that were used in successful businesses that Gail has gathered. You can use the Search Within series to search for your specific type of business, and it will allow you to see kind of the structure they used, the type of data they gathered, the statistics they used, all of that. So if you need guidance with the business plan, that's a wonderful place to go, in addition to the templates that are available on score.org, which are wonderful. Other resources that I want to share, for those of you not in Mecklenburg County, there is one called Social Explorer. If you're in Mecklenburg County, you can use just a little way above it on the list, Simply Analytics, which is similar types of data, but Simply Analytics goes deeper. So if you're in Mecklenburg County, most likely you're going to be better off with Simply Analytics. If you're not in Mecklenburg County, Social Explorer. But Simply Analytics lets you construct maps like this, for instance. So my example that I usually use is if I want to start a coffee shop. This is looking at the percentage of people that have bought coffee on the go in the last 7 days. And the green areas are areas where a higher percentage of people have. You can look at different data points as well. They have thousands upon thousands upon thousands of data points. So you can look at like who has coffee at home. And one of the things I noticed when I did this is the areas where people are buying coffee on the go tend to be areas where they don't have a lot of coffee in the house. You can also look at business count. So that's what the dots represent. These are examples of, in this case, it's baked goods, but earlier I had it on coffee shops. So you can kind of see where the businesses are located, where people are buying stuff, and use that to help make a decision on your location. You can also look at it in terms of comparison tables or ranking. So this is comparing Charlotte to the US, but you can add many different geographies in here as well. This is looking at ranking based on Mecklenburg County zip codes. And then you can get a list of businesses. This case, again, it's baked goods, but like here's snacks and non-alcoholic beverage bars. And these are all using NAICS codes. If you're not familiar with those, it's a classification system used by the government. The other resource that I usually like to demo is called Data Axle, and this one is available statewide. A few years ago, it was not, and this resource is so powerful. I literally had people coming in from Asheville, Wilmington, and Raleigh to use our computers to use this database because we were the only library in the state that had it for a little while. And then thankfully, NC Live picked it back up, so now it is available statewide. But it is a wonderful, wonderful database. You've got the business database. You can search to find potential competitors, potential suppliers, things like that. They also have the standard white pages. So if you want to do a mailing campaign to advertise, hey, we're open, come visit us, you can go in here and define a specific area, and it will generate a list of who lives in that area. You can then export that into an Excel sheet and make your mail merge. We're actually getting ready to do that with the library, with the neighborhood right around us, to advertise some big upcoming programs we have. They also have the new movers homeowners section here, which is similar to the white pages, but is people who have moved within the last year. So, after 6 months or so, if you want to do another mailer, rather than hitting everybody again, you can go into new movers homeowners and try to get people that have just moved into the area who may not know about you, as opposed to the people who got your mailer in the past. I don't think I really have time to do an example search, but I'm more than happy to demo that for you in a one-on-one session. We do one-on-one sessions here at the library multiple times throughout the week. Mine can actually be done either in person, so you're more than welcome to come and see me here at the library, or online. And you would find those just by going back to the library's homepage and going to programs and events, and then going to adults. And if you use the filters on the side here, you can narrow it down to one-on-one. And mine will say, and I'll also add in Allegra Westbrooks because that's me. The ones that are for me will say technology or nonprofits. I also do small business, but it was getting too long, so I just had to pick one. Technology or nonprofits, that's with me. Again, I'm happy to do it either in person or over video. But the resource that Terry mentioned earlier that lets you look at check out competitors and like see how much money they're making, what their employee count is, all of that, that was Data Axle, which again is an incredibly powerful database that has, I mean, I could spend hours talking about how much is in here. And I'm showing it's right at 7:30, so I think that's about all I have time for. I'm going to check the chat real fast and see if there are any questions I can answer very quickly. Yeah, Crystal, Jane said that yes, the recording will be sent out tomorrow. Are there any questions that anyone has? I can stay on the line for a little bit. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and post my contact information just one more time in case anyone wants it. You're more than welcome to email me, even if you're outside of Mecklenburg County. But thank you all so much. And again, thank you, Terry. This was wonderful.
Thanks everyone for joining. Jeremy, thank you for such a rich amount of information. Those are great resources. Everyone should definitely take advantage of these incredible offerings by Monica and Jeremy. There are a lot of other resources offered at score.org, as Terry said. So thanks everyone so much for coming. You'll receive this recording tomorrow. And thank you so much, Terry, for dedicating your evening to presenting this, and hope to see everyone soon. As Jeremy said, they're happy to stick around to answer some questions. So let's do that.
Thanks everyone for coming. It was a blast. I talk faster every time I do it.
Like I said, I'm from up north, so we specialize in fast talk.
Likewise, I'm from Connecticut.
Really? We lived in New London for years.
Oh, it's the greatest place. Yep. I'm from the Fairfield County area. Danbury. Yeah. Beautiful area. Now I'm actually back up in New York State.
Yeah, I grew
Here
up
we
in North Central
go.
Massachusetts, so.
Central Massachusetts, yeah. Yep. Well, they talk
But,
even faster than we do.
yeah. I just, what I say though is I wasn't born in the South, but I got here as fast as I could. Joanali, there on, I don't know if anybody's seeing her question. The score.org has a template section at their top. So I usually just start at score.org, and at the top, it's like templates and resources. And then it's one of the first things on the page that'll show up because it's like one of the most popular.
Oh,
templates.
Yeah. Question maybe for Jeremy by Jeff. Asked if I think one of the databases that you shared is a free database. I understand, Jeremy, that everything that you shared is can be accessed at least through the Charlotte.
Yes.
Library.
They're free for, if you have a library card, they're free for you. The library or NC Live has paid for them. So it looks like Jeff, I mentioned a couple different databases. Social Explorer is statewide with your library card, as is Data Axle. Simply
Data
Analytics
Axle.
is not.
Which one?
Simply Analytics.
Oh, yeah.
That one you have to be in Mecklenburg County. But again, if you know what you want to pull from it, if you email me, I'll see what I can do because you can export those into either like PDF or images or things like that.
That's the one with the heat maps and stuff, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump off to make a last minute run to the store
Okay,
for
thanks a
whatever month
lot.
they
We'll
have
be in
left.
touch.
Yeah, it was great meeting everybody, and hope to get to meet you in person, Jeremy. I'm working on an outreach trip to Charlotte in Q2 for the Do Better Charlotte quarterly meetup. So hopefully I'll get to meet you.
That would be wonderful.
I'm gonna be set up at the library. That's kind of my plan. I'm gonna need a room, and yeah, we'll figure it out. Yep,
Well,
snow's coming. Y'all stay
I'd
safe
better
out there.
run too because we're closing out the building. But thank you all so much again, Terry. Thank you. This was wonderful. Elliot, Jane, I don't know if you're still here, but thank you both for hosting.
Definitely. Thank you, Jeremy, and thank you, Monica. Terry, should we go ahead and close
Yep.
it out?
Yeah, go ahead and hit the leave button.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I'll see you. Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much, Terry. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.